mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
I'm trying to remember. What gender even says that?
I can... Oh, Inception.
Inception.
There we are.
Inception. Who says that?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Oh, I need to see that movie again. That was a good movie.
It's a really good movie.
I still haven't seen The Tenant.
Oh, I watched that during the pandemic, and it was one of those things where I remember watching it. I'm like, I need to like really do my homework and rewatch this multiple times because I think that's when it's gonna like really open up for me. I haven't done it, but I do own it, so I took one step in the direction of doing that.
Well, there you go.
It's a little trippy, I mean, but not super complicated to follow.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? I was listening to somebody talk about Christopher Nolan, and they said one of his downfalls is in movies. This is what this one guy who's into movies and critics and has had like a notable movie magazine for years said, and he basically said that Christopher Nolan loves showing people how smart he is in his movies.
Yeah, it's a downfall because I don't really care how smart somebody is. Just make a good movie.
As long as it's entertaining, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Be as smart as you want. Well, welcome to the Utterly Useless Podcast, the only podcast that isn't sure if we are awake or still dreaming.
Oh.
I'm still dreaming.
Across from me is a man that has his dreams under control. A man that can solve a maze on paper in 1 minute that takes only 2 minutes to create. The Cobb of the podcast, Jeremy.
Ooh.
I'm trying to remember who Cobb is.
Leonardo.
Oh, okay. Cool. Except I'm tortured by my previous wife.
What was it? I will tell you, just to butt in or whatever. One of the best things about YouTube is people's theories and stuff like that. And somebody found a theory, bounced it off of Christopher Nolan about how you can tell if Leonardo is actually awake or asleep. And it was one of those things where like, oh, that's good. And it all has to do with the ring on his finger.
Did he take it off?
No, when he's asleep, he is hopeful that his marriage will, prosper and flourish or whatever. But when he's awake, he doesn't have his ring on because he and his wife are estranged.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense. Now, to my left is a man that believes if you're going to perform Inception, you need imagination. The Eames of the pod, Brett.
So that's Tom Hardy, right?
That's Tom Hardy.
Okay. I'm like, because the only other one I could think of is Gordon, whatever, Levitt or whatever.
Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
And lastly, if I tell you to not think about elephants, what do you think about?
Elephants.
A man that doesn't like being shot in the head to wake up. The author of the pod, Timmy.
But who are you?
Author.
I thought you said like the author of the podcast.
Yeah, that's what I
was like,
got that too.
Who's Arthur?
Arthur's Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Okay. See, this just goes back to the fact that I can watch a whole movie and not know who anybody is. I don't know how that works, but I can do it.
Hey, you know what? Nobody at this table is the Pepsi girl, also known as the chicken Juno.
Oh yeah. Pepsi girl. Where does that come from?
She was in Pepsi commercials.
Oh, was she? When she was younger or something?
No, like because I remember. To me personally, I found her appearance in Inception so distracting because she was in Pepsi commercials at the time, and whenever I saw her, I was just waiting for her to turn to the camera and talk about Pepsi.
Earliest thing I remember her in is X-Men 3.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember who she was in X-Men 3 because I do vaguely remember her.
Nobody cares. It's X-Men 3.
Yeah. I'm just curious what superhero they should play.
I think it's erased.
That's true.
All right, let's get into our merit badges.
All right, merit badges. What do we got?
All right, well, my merit badge this week is I've talked about it before the podcast, and I'll talk about it right now. And that is becoming a master of the Coke freestyle machines. And oh my goodness, like first off, freestyle machines are are far and away not as good as regular soda fountain machines. I'm just throwing it out there right now. Because of the different kinds of sweeteners involved and the maintenance that goes into it. I think it's totally different, but I'm learning how to operate these machines, and I've been charged with being the master of them at work.
Is there any benefit of having these freestyle machines?
Variety, choice.
Okay.
That's really the only advantage. And I mean, also like it's there are cartridges that go into the machines and they last quite a while, with the exception of the sugars.
Okay.
But they last for a long time.
I think I would give up varieties to have just the basics.
Variety
over quality.
Quality over variety.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because every time I get something out of the Coke freestyle machines, I just like, it's not going to taste that good.
I also prefer Pepsi.
Yeah, me too.
Full disclosure.
It's true. All right. Well, my merit badge. So I went out of town this last weekend, and one last hurrah before the school season started. And on the way home, I got the one finger salute.
Hey, congratulations.
And the funny thing is like, I just laughed about it. I'm like, because I have no idea what I did. It was like it was a 1-lane highway, or, like one way, one lane each way. And then, occasionally it'll come up to a 2 lanes when people can pass. And so I was just in line with all the other cars. It was one of those that everybody had the same idea to go out of town this weekend, then come back home. So we're all in a line. I'm just following them. And all of a sudden it goes to 2 lanes and somebody like zooms past me and like slows down and purposely like looks at me and flips me off. I'm like, what did I do? I've just been one of the sheep right here in line, not doing a darn thing. But I got the salute.
Nice. Congratulations. Where were you? Just out of curiosity.
I was in Idaho.
Okay. Because what was it? I was driving through Wyoming one time, and it did the same thing. And as I was driving, I knew just from some details that I saw, the car, 2 cars in front of me was an undercover police car. I knew it. I was 100% certain about it. And so we were already, I swear like the speed limit was around 70, 75 miles an hour. So we were going 80. And the cars behind me were angry that I was only going 80.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, nope, I'm just going to go 80. They were flashing their lights at me, just kind of like, and then.
Is it a 1 lane?
Yeah. So it was a 1 lane because they were flashing their lights. They're like, go faster, go faster. And so I'm like, no, because what they wanted me to do is they wanted me to go faster, pass the car and go in front of them, because it was one of those like, long, narrow highways where it's easy to pass. And I was just like, I'm not doing that because I know who this guy is. So it eventually, forked into 2 lanes, and I got flipped off by 3 people in a row. They cruised past me at 90. It was so funny because you could tell they turned, they saw the car that I knew was a police officer, and suddenly, meow, they fell back in line.
That's hilarious. People are so dumb. People, why do you, sure, I get frustrated with other cars, but I don't get to the point where I need to flip anybody off.
Yeah.
I literally got honked at yesterday because I was in the turn lane waiting to turn into a parking lot. And I was taking too long, but I'm like, there's cars coming.
Yeah, it's like, I can't help this.
Yeah.
Oh, people are annoying.
Well, I have a brand new merit badge. I was actually tinkering between 2 of them. And then on the drive over here, that's when I got my merit badge. So as I was driving over here, I got on the on-ramp and I saw what possibly could have been a small tent being blown around on the freeway. And I'm like, this is terrifying. Why is there a tent on the freeway? Then I got closer And I'm like, oh no, that is not a tent. That is a person. What are they doing on the freeway? Then I got closer. Then it was a person who was in a costume. And I'm like, stupid teenager, why are you on the freeway? And then I got closer, and it was a large, what is it? It was a large, slowly deflating Buzz Lightyear balloon.
So it wasn't a person?
No.
It was just a balloon.
But it was one of those gigantic, the instant I knew it was a Buzz Lightyear, so I saw the Buzz Lightyear, and then the instant I got to the back of it, you could see, the silver, kind of aluminum color of it.
How tall would you say it was?
It was like probably, when it was deflating, so I'd probably say at the time it was 4 feet tall, but if it was fully full of air, I would say that was probably about 5 feet.
Huh.
But it was like hunched over, and it was because it looked like somebody was looking for something. and so my merit badge is just like, what is that on the freeway?
Your spotting skills were a little subpar.
Well, I mean, it was, it went from, being 50 feet away to like, it looked like a tent, to suddenly you could make out that there was arms, and you're like, wait. And the thing it was just barely being lifted off the ground. And so from a far distance, it looked like, the closer you got to it, it looked like a person.
You have the spotting skills of someone on Family Guy, like, hey, you can't park your van on the diving board. It's not a van, that's my son.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, that's just weird. Why does anybody have a Buzz Lightyear in the first place?
I don't know. But you know what? It was.
Was it near the movie theaters? Even though
it
there's
was right next to a high school. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm pretty sure like a couple teenagers were just like, hey, like my little brother had a birthday party. Let's just like take this to the freeway and just drop it off and then leave. The sad thing is I think, and I was driving at 7 a.m. So I can only imagine, like once I thought it was a person, I didn't slam on my brake, but man, I slowed down, and hopefully no bad accident will come from that.
Yeah. Yeah, but hopefully not. That's for sure.
Spin the wheel.
All right, we have Spin the Wheel, where we have 10 categories of questions. We're going to spin this wheel and decide which questions we're going to ask one another. And Timmy Criddle goes first, and you get random question.
The random question of the day is, if you could star in any kind of commercial, what would it be?
Ooh.
Fast acting to acting.
The milk commercials from the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Got milk.
Oh, man. I just want to be in the funny ones, which the funny ones are few and far between these days.
Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh man, that song from like the early 2000s or whatever would get stuck in my mind. So
I sang that the other day, and my daughter was like, "What is that?"
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol.
Oh, new depends.
You remember I know, Brett, you've seen Supernatural. Remember when they were on that commercial for like, I don't know, some kind of STD?
Yes.
That's hilarious. I mean, that I wouldn't be opposed to it as long as it was funny like that.
If you want to be in a funny, absolutely random commercial, be in a cologne commercial.
Oh my gosh. Maybe that would be fun to do. Be like almost Zoolander-ish. Like the essence of water.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love that because there's like always like some jacked guy or something like that, like swimming with like, and then coming up in slow motion. And it's just like, what are you like doing? Like, are we a resort? What's this? Cologne. Wait. Why is that guy wearing cologne? He's swimming in the ocean.
That's a good point. I'm gonna go with
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I were just stick to my brands, it'd be Mountain Dew.
The Surge commercials from the 90s.
Surge commercials. I still yell that from time to time. Surge, and nobody knows what I'm talking about. I'll pick Mountain Dew just to because I've always wanted to promote them and be a part of their organization somehow.
Yeah, I would either do, because I love the milk commercials from the 90s. So I would either do milk commercials from the 90s, or if it had to be nowadays, it would be one of those random commercials for some drug or whatever, where this is supposed to be debilitating, and all you're doing is following some people around who have like the biggest smile, like
Yes.
unnaturally big
Yes.
smiles.
Daytime commercials, especially through The Price is Right.
Yeah.
Yep. What about you, Chris?
Oh, definitely a cologne commercial. Get totally jacked for just a 30-second spot.
Yeah.
There you go. Especially if they're paying for it.
Especially if they're
Exactly.
paying for it.
Yeah. All right, Brett, you're up next, and you got Could You Fight It?
All right. So just before I start this, we all know who Grimace is, right?
Purple.
The
Yes.
purple guy from
Yep,
McDonald's.
McDonald's, yeah.
Okay. Could you fight John Cena in Grimace's costume?
If John Cena's in Grimace's
Yes.
costume?
Oh,
Ooh. Grimace doesn't have much of a reach. Like, his punches have got to be pulled,
Yeah.
or else he's going to break the
I
costume.
feel like John Cena though would take risks. Big risks.
If he breaks the costume in any way, does he lose?
No.
Darn it. Because then.
I mean, it starts off like with like the whole, like his arms are like this, but you know what? He could just rip.
If he can rip it and break it, then I'm going to lose. I know it.
I feel like he would just flex and then all of a sudden it just rip off.
Yeah. I watched on the airplane Fast and Furious 7 because there was very limited options to watch, and I was like, well, I should give it a try. And The Rock has a cast on and he flexes and it breaks off, and I was like, okay, sure.
I'm buying into this.
But no, John Cena would pound me. He'd take me to Pound Town.
You thought this was going to be a street fight?
Yeah. That was one of the cheesiest lines ever. Oh,
Who said that? Vin Diesel?
yeah.
Okay.
And it's funny because I think the street fell apart, or what was it?
He like took a stomp and then like the street collapsed.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can't. What about you, Curdle?
Do I get any weapons?
Let's just say it takes place at a McDonald's.
Oh, I can throw Happy Meals at him. I'll give it the college try.
If I throw the fry grease at him, I'm sure it's not going to do anything because he's got a Grimace outfit
Exactly.
Yeah.
on. All the chairs are all like
Stapled to the ground.
exactly.
I think I could get him stuck in one of those playpins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just go through like the slide and he gets stuck. And
Yeah.
then once he gets stuck, you start kicking him. Go around the other side, kick his butt just multiple
Yeah.
times. Like, I kicking John Cena's butt in a Grimace outfit.
At a playpen in a McDonald's. Yep. That'd be a good story.
Yeah.
I mean, let's do it.
What location would you make it to make it even a better story?
Probably a McDonald's in the middle of Nevada somewhere.
In Reno, Nevada. Or
McDonald's off of the strip where it's just like, that would just be a normal thing.
That's another Tuesday.
haven't seen Grimace for a couple weeks. All right. My turn. And I get Kiss, Marry, Kill. Would you rather kiss, marry, or kill Tony Stark, Bruce Wayne, or T'Challa?
Let's see. I think I would marry Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
And the next one's tough. Because you know what? I could like have like vibranium gear and stuff like that if I or no. No, if I just kissed him, it would just be
It's just a kiss.
yeah. Oh, I know. I'm gonna take Bruce Wayne because and then Thanos is gonna snap and T'Challa's gone, and then I'll just walk over and kiss Iron Man.
There you go.
I think I will marry Stark. I will kill Bruce.
You mean you're gonna do something that the Joker couldn't? Wow.
I feel like Bruce has anger issues.
Yeah,
out of
but you
all
know
of
what?
them.
I think he like leaves you alone for the most part. Like you just get to like live in his mansion while he's like
With
brooding.
Alfred, you're really
Yeah,
just hanging out with Alfred.
Yeah, you're basically hanging out with Alfred, like while he's
Well-
like brooding somewhere.
But I feel like Tony Stark would have more. I mean, first off, there'd be Jarvis or
Yep.
Friday, and then you'd have more tech to
Happy.
play with.
You'd have Happy as well.
and Happy as well. So I don't know. And then Kiss T'Challa.
Do you know? So I looked up the list just out of curiosity of who is the wealthiest according to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
T'Challa supposedly is the wealthiest. I mean, he's a king.
Yeah.
And vibranium's very expensive.
Well, not currently in the comic book land. He's been dethroned.
Yeah.
They're now in a not monarchy. They're whatever.
And then Tony Stark and then Bruce Wayne.
Hmm.
So fun fact.
Look at that. I'm slumming it with Bruce Wayne. There we are.
It's not about the money.
I'd probably do the same as Criddle. I'd marry Tony Stark, I'd kiss Bruce Wayne, and kill T'Challa.
Like, yeah, take that. Kill. I did something that Killmonger couldn't do.
Exactly.
And kill was in his name, and he still couldn't do it.
Yep. Couldn't do his own name.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
That's a shame.
All right, Criddle, you're up, and you got Desert Island.
All right. Would you rather be stuck on a desert island with a droid like R2D2 whose communication systems are broken, or be on a desert island with a fully blind but fully functioning C3PO?
R2D2, because these C3PO would bother me so much.
R2D2 still makes the little whistles, right?
Uh-huh.
And the
Yeah.
beeps. Okay. But C3PO is blind and useless.
But he can talk to you.
You can talk to me, but R2D2 could actually help me.
Yeah, well, because remember,
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
R2D2 can understand you, but you can't understand him.
Oh, that's fine. I'll do R2D2 if you can help me, because he's got all those little gadgets come out. I don't think C3PO's got any kind of like Swiss Army knife on him like
Yeah.
R2D2 does.
He's just a high maintenance robot, I guess.
he is high maintenance. I mean, at least maybe, if like, a mermaid came, like, he'd be able to like speak their language and be like, hey,
Yeah. That's
she
true.
says that you're kind of hot and she'd like to take you under the sea.
like, I'd die under the sea. No thanks.
Would you like me to comb the desert, sir?
I saw something the other day that said like Wookiees live to be like 500 years or
Yeah.
something like that. And so the joke was like, so does that mean like Han Solo's like his third pet?
Probably, yeah.
All right. And next would be Brett. And you got how much?
All right. So I was trying to think of something gross, but not superly gross. So in one day, how much would
Could a
You-
woodchuck?
would you have to be paid to eat a 10-pound bag of circus peanuts?
Oh my gosh.
The orange candy?
Yes.
A 10-pound bag.
10-pound bag of circus peanuts eaten in one day.
How many of those peanuts do you think is just 1 pound? I'm just curious. I'm thinking somewhere around, they're pretty heavy. I'm thinking about like 25, 30.
I mean,
Because I want to, if it's 300 of those things.
just 10 pounds. I mean, you're looking at a pound bag. So probably the size of a Ziploc bag, like gallon Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
Stuffed.
Yeah.
10 of those.
Mm-hmm. Ugh. I haven't had one of those in so long, probably about 20 plus years.
I almost feel like this would be worse than chewing like 10 packs of gum.
I would do that.
Yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat. I would do 10 packs of gum in a day.
I know. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. This would be worse
Yeah.
than chewing the gum.
Uh-huh.
Because because the peanuts go down versus the gum can come out.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's 1 pound right there.
Okay. That's
So
that's
10
kind of
of
what we were
those.
thinking it was, I think.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what. Oh, that looks smaller.
It does look a little
Looks a
smaller.
little smaller, like that big maybe. So
In 10 pounds, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is it just one flavor?
It is.
I mean, I'll give you because this one has assorted flavors. So
There's just-
I'll give you. It might not be assorted flavors. It might just be assorted colors.
Assorted color.
No, I'm scared of that. I'd rather go with the original. I want to go with the original because I don't know what I'm gonna get. There's gonna be that nasty color. You're like, oh no, I have to eat this.
Can we dip it in anything?
What would you dip it in?
I don't know.
Oh gosh, this is gross.
When I was a kid, one of my friends, he liked eating Circus peanuts, but only when we'd go swimming. And so he said that the chlorine made it taste better. So,
What?
yeah,
Is he still alive?
I don't know. The last time I saw him, he was like super jacked, and
Holy.
I think his growth was stunted because he was like, I swear he was like 5'5", but he was super jacked, man.
Okay, so I have 24 hours is what you're saying, right?
Correct. Mhm.
Okay. So I could do this because, I mean, you think about it, 10 of those bags,
One bag every hour.
one bag every hour because I'm probably gonna need to die afterwards.
Do those things expand in your stomach?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember the texture of
You know
those
what?
things.
We need to get some chocolate laxative cookies
There we go.
to flush it out
Yep.
quick. I'm doing this.
I'll do it too.
We'll
but-
do. I'm still gonna hate myself after that, and I don't know how long I'll be foaming orange out of the mouth.
Your mouth is flowing orange. Oh no. He's eating too many peanuts. He's turning.
My skin would probably turn orange. There was one time in college that I got stuck on the Rockstar lemonades, and I drank so many of them that my skin was starting to turn a little yellow.
Really?
That's crazy. Okay, my bottom dollar on this is probably going to be around $500. So that's where I'm going.
$500.
Yeah.
I'll do it for $3.99.
$3.99. Don't give me $400. That's too much. $3.99.
If it's an inconvenience for me, it's an inconvenience for you.
They just Venmo you. That's fine. I just push a 3 and a 9 and a 9.
I want it all in pennies.
Oh gosh, bro, that was gross. All right, my turn, and I get what if. Okay, so this is my hypothetical scenario. You're approached by a wizard, and he is going to curse you, but he's going to give you the option to choose which curse. So you have the ability to have superhuman strength, invisibility, or the power of flight. However, each of these powers turn on and turn off randomly. Which one would you choose?
Let's see. I'm not going to have flight because that would be the worst to randomly turn off.
Yep.
Unless you're flying super close to the ground.
Exactly. Yeah, kind of like a
Still.
Buzz Lightyear. Yeah. Let's see. And you said invisibility, strength.
Yep.
Let's see.
When you go invisible, you don't lose your clothes, right? Your clothes go invisible too.
It'd be funny, but no. Yeah, they don't.
Okay. I feel like the least dangerous one would be the invisibility. I'm going with that one.
I'm gonna go with strength just because like it's one of those things where I'm not gonna be like lifting up like cars and be like, hey, look at this crunch. I'm just gonna be like, here, give me like I'm just gonna be doing certain things normal. And it's like, oh, light as a feather, and then just kind of like, but then that could backfire because I lift up my phone and suddenly I throw it to the ceiling because interesting.
I'm going invisibility. I'd basically be the invisible boy from Mystery Men. So
Yeah.
don't look at me.
Also, you'd be like, with the strength, giving one of your students a high five, and all of a sudden you break their hand.
Ooh. Let's see. Okay, I take that back. I'm gonna go with flight, but I'm just gonna be like hovering like just lightly on the air, kind of like Doctor Strange, just like probably about like an inch ahead, just and then suddenly it wears off.
Do you have your arms out?
Exactly. Just it wears off, and then suddenly I just kind of go back down to the ground. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah. I like it.
I'm going invisible.
That you have some good points there because now you don't have to walk.
exactly.
You're not like straining yourself in any way. But invisibility, can I use that as any? kind of benefit. You're trying to rob a bank, all of a sudden, turns off. Hi. I think I would choose with Brett's argument. I'm going flight.
I mean, for me, it's like, I can just need to activate it for a little bit. I can get into the football game or something. And I want to drink.
Yeah, but it's turns on and off randomly. You don't have the power to turn it on or off.
Oh, I could be standing outside the stadium waiting.
I can wait.
That'd be so funny. The security guards there. Did you see that guy blink? Like, I swear, he was there, he wasn't, and then he's there again. Did you see that? I swear he blinked.
Roll the videotape.
One of those times that it doesn't turn off for a long time.
That would make the best. You could go to Halloween as like the ring girl or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Or the what is it? The grudge chick or something like that. And you could just be like, paint your skin all white or whatever, and you're just like, just like screaming, and then suddenly like you disappear, and then you like reappear, and they're just like, let's hire some Hollywood producers is like, hey, let's get that guy under contract.
I can't always perform when they ask me to.
I have performance issues.
All right.
That would be so funny. They give you Viagra and you find out that it increases your invisibility range.
Like you're talking your duration.
Yeah. It's like, you're like, hey, how's things going? It's like, good. But I've like, it's been 5 hours and I think I need to see medical help.
Where are you?
Follow the sound of my voice. Ow. Yeah, sorry about that. It was the Viagra.
All right, we're going to be playing channel surfing. This is a game to simulate what it was like back in the 90s, where we'd change the channel, have to see what's on there, and either move on or stay where we are. In this game, we don't know when the end is, when we run out of channels, and when we do, it's the weather channel where we all lose. So I'm going to roll a D12, and that is going to determine how many channels that I secretly have. And you get to choose whether or not we are going to move on. And here we go. Just getting my numbers in here. And here we are. So, okay, here we go. All right. First movie, Dragon Blade.
Dragon Blade.
I'll give you
Okay, yeah, give me a synopsis.
Well, the cast, I just want to say, this is a weird cast. Cast is Jackie Chan,
Okay.
John Cusack, Adrian Brody. So, yeah.
Interesting.
So, and then the synopsis is Hugh On, the commander of the protection squad of the Western regions, was framed by evil forces and becomes enslaved. On the other hand, a Roman general escapes to China after rescuing the prince. The heroic duo meet the Western desert, and a thrilling story unfolds.
Ooh, this has all the weirdness of a good sci-fi show. But it's the first show.
It's a big commitment.
That is a big commitment. I'm gonna go watch it. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna sit down and watch this one.
I'm going to go to the next channel.
Okay. Brett, just for funsies, you got a 6.3 rating.
6.3 out of 10.
Yeah, 10.
Okay.
All right, Criddle, you turn the channel, and it is a movie called And Had Hun.
Change.
I think it's a foreign film. All right, the next channel you turn on, you're like, hey, I recognize this. It's called What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Change.
And then you turn the channel, and it's The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf.
Is that the Nick Cage movie?
I hope not.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Change.
All right, you change the channel, and it's a movie called Melina.
Melina.
Yep.
Let's go to the next channel.
The next channel. You turn on, you're like, oh no, it's the movie Juno.
Nope. Next.
All right. The next channel is a movie called Crooks in Clover.
Oh, synopsis.
Synopsis is an aging gangster, Ferdinand Nandine, is hoping for a quiet retirement, not refreshment, when he suddenly inherits a fortune from an old friend, a former gangster supremo known as the Mexican.
Change.
All right. Next one is called Life.
Oh, that's the Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence movie.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll watch that.
All right. You get a 6.7.
Did I get 6.8?
You got 6.3.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm happy with mine. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be sci-fi, and it's none of the movies that you skipped on.
It's a little comedy I can deal with. That's fine.
All right. And the next movies, just so you know, that were left were Minions was next.
Oh, okay.
I Want to Dance with Somebody was next. And then Little Mermaid, Ariel's Beginnings was the last one.
Ooh, the origin of Ariel.
Yep.
That's a thing.
I
Yeah,
guess.
it takes place in the womb.
It takes place in the womb.
the fish egg.
Oh, gosh. And you actually meet Ariel's mom, apparently. I don't know. It's funny because they never mention, like, where's Ariel's mom?
Yeah, I mean, at least with Bambi's mom, you knew, like, something happened.
Okay, so next time you guys sit down to the TV, turn it on. Boop. And that was my attempt to make that little
Yeah.
90s warming up sound. It's The Ninth Gate.
Oh, that's the Johnny Depp horror movie.
Yep.
Next.
Next one, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Watching.
Well, you both get a 7.2. The rest of the shows were Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs,
Yeah.
Barbie Fairytopia, Mermaidia.
Is that the origin of Barbie the mermaid?
I mean, yeah, she is
Also-
a mermaid.
Also in
this.
an egg.
And then the last one is a movie called Do the Right Thing.
Oh,
I don't think
score.
I've heard
Yeah,
of that.
we won.
Yeah, it's either that or Cloudy. And actually, I think, honestly, and as far as score goes, yeah, Christmas Vacation had the highest score out of all of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you done good. All right, getting this ready for the next go about. And here we go. We turn on the TV. It's a movie called If Only.
If only I cared. Next.
Pass.
All right. The next movie, The Full Monty.
I remember when I was working at Harmon's in the video department when this came out, and everybody was raving about it. And I watched it, and I was just like, where's the funny part? So next.
Nah, pass.
All right. This next movie is called Favorite, except Favorite has a U spelled in it.
So it's English. Gotcha.
Next.
Or Canadian, but next.
And you guys get the Weather Channel.
Yeah, we win.
We win.
So interesting. The movie Favorite cast. I don't know who Olivia Colman is.
Oh yeah, she's the chick that did the torture scene in Secret Invasion. Or,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. I'm on with you now. Okay. Emma Stone,
okay,
Rachel Weisz.
okay.
So yeah.
Wow.
So those people. And Favorite had Jennifer Love Hewitt in it, and whoever this guy is, Paul Nichols was the love interest. It looks like. I don't know who he is, but yeah. All right, that was channel surfing.
All right.
All right, now it's time we begin our March Madness of the most rewatchable TV series. So we are going to be picking this off on Squid Game versus Arrested Development.
Ooh, this is that's a good. Sadly, that's a good first round pick, but Squid Game is the scariest thing about Squid Game personally is I think the second season has a lot to live up to, where at least for me personally, the first 2 seasons of Arrested Development are good. And I kind of enjoyed the first season of it on Netflix. Haven't seen the second season of Arrested Development on Netflix, but oh, that's a tough one.
It's interesting for me because we're talking about rewatchability, I'm like, I don't really care for Arrested Development, and I do enjoy Squid Game, but honestly, I don't think Squid Game's rewatchable.
Yeah.
So I surprisingly am going to vote for Arrested Development, a show that it's not as interesting, but I do find it funny.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Arrested Development as well. I think comedy lends itself to rewatchability, but I do think Squid Game is probably the better show.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yep.
All right. Next one is The Neighbors and Cheers.
I saw this when you turned on the computer, and I was just like, oh.
Cheers has got way more seasons. You haven't seen The Neighbors, have you?
No.
It's a show about these aliens that move into this like HOA, and they try to assimilate themselves, and they're really bad at it, kind of. So,
Yeah.
and they take the names of like very famous people. So Larry Bird is the dad.
I love Larry Bird. He's so funny.
I like how the youngest kid's name is Dick Butkus.
Uh-huh.
And then what was the older kid? And then they're not even all the same ethnicities, which is even more funny.
Because the dad's white, the mom is black, the oldest son is Asian, and the youngest kid
is a white redhead, like just super white and super redhead.
with a gigantic forehead.
Yeah. What was the Asian? Oh, it was Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then Jackie Joyner Kersee was the mom.
Yeah.
I like the show Neighbors. I think everybody should give it a watch, but I think Cheers is just a better, like, story-wise, rewatchability.
Yeah.
The one thing I do like about The Neighbors is there's less depth.
That is true.
So it does.
To me, The Neighbors is I'm curious what it would have been had that not been canceled, because at least for me, I don't know about you, but The Good Place, I loved the first season.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kept on watching it, waiting for it to get as good as the first season. And it was fun, but it was never as good as the first season.
Yes.
Yes, that's true. And Neighbors, it does remind me a lot of The Good Place, like in its comedy, because it's kind of off the wall comedy like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going where everyone knows my name.
Okay. Yeah. I think Cheers is the far superior one. And thanks to the lockdown, when nothing was new, I bought like the whole thing of Cheers on iTunes for like $30.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, this one was surprisingly closer than I thought it would be. And I think it's just because The Neighbors is less dramatic than Cheers.
Yeah.
And so that's why it was close to me, but I'm going Cheers. All right. The next one, we have Wednesday versus Lock and Key, both Netflix shows.
Interesting.
That's interesting. We've all seen all of these, right?
Nope.
I have not seen Lock and Key.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
not seen Wednesday.
I'm the only one that's seen both. You need to watch your kids. I feel like, Criddle, your family would like Lock and Key.
Lock and Key it's a good family scary series. And to me personally, the first 2 seasons are hands down so much fun.
Yes, they are.
And then the third season,
I haven't seen that.
I think to me personally, the third season of Lock and Key suffers from what I've mentioned a whole bunch of times, especially when we did like rewatchability of the movies, is we need a villain to defeat so that, the good guys can win. And so what they did with the third season is they introduced a villain of the third season and the second season. They defeated the villain from the first 2 seasons in the second season. And then they kind of easily defeated this one, sort of. And it was like, just because, this is based off of a comic book doesn't mean that you have to defeat them by killing them or whatever. They can, go with their tail between their legs and stuff like that. You can leave it open. I think I think we want as a society for movies and entertainment is closure. But you know what? In real life, you don't 100% always get closure.
Yep.
So, you know what? Allow some, continuation or whatever, or get, I think what they should have done is turned people to like read the comics, because since it was based off of a comics, if you're like, oh, I wonder what happened to this. Well, guess what? You can. Netflix has decided we're not going to go pursue this anymore, but there is further adventures.
An interesting thing about both of these being here is they're both obviously kind of horror. Wednesday, if you ask me, is more horror comedy. Lock and Key is more horror drama. Yeah, I think they are very similar in styles. I think Wednesday is my vote. I think Wednesday is more rewatchable. I mean, it's a great performance, great story. Lock and Key is a great story. Like, it's just not as fun. And
I don't know. I think the adventure of finding the keys is fun.
Yeah. But you have to consider it's all the seasons.
Yeah. But I not having seen Wednesday, but I've just heard how fantastic the actress is and whatnot. I actually have to go with Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll go with Wednesday.
Okay. Man, all these are 3 and outs. All right. Here we got Sherlock versus The Flash. So Benedict Cumberbatch versus the CW Flash, which I've never seen The Flash.
See, I love The Flash, but I love the first 3 seasons. By the 3rd season, it kind of got okay. And so, because the first 3 seasons, he was fighting, he fought Reverse Flash, then he fought Zoom, which I think Zoom is like the most terrifying Flash villain possibly, at least in CW. And then he fought Savitar, which is another speedster. And I'm like, okay, when are you going to not fight a speedster? And so then the next couple of seasons, he didn't. And those seasons were even worse.
It was like The Thinker. And
yeah. The Thinker was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me personally, and then I'll get Sherlock is interesting because, and I think years ago, I bounced this off of Jeremy. I go, isn't it interesting that the first episode of Sherlock in the first season and the third one is good and the second one is awful? And then the second season, it follows the same pattern. The first one is good, the third one is good, and the second one is awful. And I think, if memory serves me right, it did the same thing with the third season. And then I think the last season was just, the fourth season was just kind of meh.
Yeah, it was.
But so that's just what I think about both of those. And I do have an opinion and a vote, but I'm going to let you guys jump in.
I don't care about CW DC shows at all. I've started, what is it called? The Arrow. I think I even watched 1 episode of The Flash. I just never got into it. And Smallville, I was into it until I realized how cheesy it is. And then I was like, I'm out. So yeah, I'm going Sherlock.
So The Flash, I agree. The first season's probably the best and the most fun.
Yeah.
I guess you could say. And then it just kind of starts to go downhill. Because it just feels, I don't think it's as repetitive or, oh, I lost my powers like Smallville.
Yeah.
And I mean, they do kind of follow that formula of who's the villain of the week? Because of the particle accelerator exploding.
Yeah.
Sherlock is just, to me, I feel like it's a smart version of Sherlock. It's interesting with the way his portrayal is, Benedict Cumberbatch's portrayal is of Sherlock Holmes. I do find it really rewatchable, and I like Moriarty.
Oh yes, Moriarty's awesome
in that series. He's a kind of terrifying, almost Joker-like.
Yeah. I will tell you, one of my favorite things was, was it the end of the third episode of the first season when he dies, or is it the end of the second or third episode of the second season when he supposedly dies? Moriarty.
Third.
Oh, Moriarty.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's been too long.
I think it's the end of the second season.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because my favorite thing is like the reprieve of at the very beginning of the third season. People start doing fan fictions of stuff, and so my favorite one is where Sherlock and Moriarty are on the top of the building, and they're just like, "Hey, let's do something." Hey, let's just make out, and they start doing it, and suddenly it just like. You think that it legitimately is that because that's how it starts, and then it just turns into somebody being like, and that's what I think happened.
I'm going to lean towards the Flash.
Whoa. So just out of curiosity, have you seen the most recent Flash season?
No.
No? Because, I have not watched the Flash season since the one after the Thinker, the one with the guy with the boomerang, the metal... the sad thing is
the dagger.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
The sad thing is I read the comic story in which he's in, and had they actually been true to the comic, that would have actually been a really good season. But they just turned it into some weird. This is it. Cicada. Yeah, did not like that. And then I tried to watch it the following season, and I haven't. And it's on Netflix.
I kind of haven't really watched The Flash since Crisis on Infinite Earths.
That was fun. Crisis was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I like that. All right. So it's up to me. And I'm going to go with, I will tell you, just out of curiosity, just as a tease, have you seen DC Legends of Tomorrow?
I've seen the first 2 seasons.
Oh man, I will tell you, it is good up until about like the 4th, maybe 5th season.
Is that the time travel show?
It is so funny. Like just think of like the first season is more serious than the second season. It kind of lightens up, and by the third season, it is hysterically funny. The guy that plays Superman in Superman Returns is
the Atom.
And he has like this he falls in love with the character, but he and this other guy have like this bromance, and it just makes things just twice as funny. Anyway, that was
who is one of the? I remember there's like brothers, right? In the
there was Hawkman and Hawkgirl, and they're kind of connected.
But there was somebody I knew, right?
Oh yeah, there was the people from Prison Break.
That's right, Lincoln.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both of them were there. The brothers,
Captain Cold and
that's right. They were like thieves.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyway, I was just kind of curious what you've seen. I'm gonna go with Sherlock because like I said, the first and third are rewatchable. Of the first 2 seasons, maybe 3. The Flash, the first season is rewatchable. Second season rewatchable. And then it just kind of goes downhill.
I tell you, the worst episode I think of Sherlock, the absolute worst, is the one where he's like that fever dream.
Oh yeah, the Christmas one.
Yep, that was horrible. But the fun fact is, last night, me and my wife just finished watching Enola Holmes 2.
Oh yeah,
I like that series.
I watched the first one and it wasn't bad.
The second one's not bad either. It's actually pretty good. And like, why can't Henry Cavill? Because he plays Sherlock.
Okay,
he's in it way more, and it's the dynamic between him and essentially 11, the girl who plays Millie Bobby Brown, plays Enola. She is just a lot more fun in the second one. Usually sequels aren't fun because what you've already done has already been done before, but like the fact that they're adding a whole different dynamic, it was quite enjoyable. All right, next one, Chopped versus The Good Place. Well, we talked about The Good Place, and
so wait, are we talking about Chopped as in
the TV show,
the reality TV show?
Yeah,
interesting. I have lots to think about now.
It was on the list of shows that we've seen.
So we talked about it a little earlier. The Good Place season 1 is great, and then it drops after that.
Yep.
Didn't it only go for like 3 seasons?
3 or 4.
Yeah, so I think it was 4.
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember as it was going, I was like, please just end.
Yeah, I did like when in like the next seasons when they have the guy from like was it the guy from hell essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I like everything that they do down there. Essentially, is hilarious.
Yeah.
I didn't like the meth place or whatever it's called.
Yeah. The in between.
The in between.
The
Yeah,
in between.
that was really boring. Whenever they would visit there, and then when they went back to Earth, that was all right.
That was all right. Yeah, I think I liked it because like the actor that plays the devil or something like that.
Yeah.
I think he was so funny.
He was
Because he just said everything so deadpan,
Mm-hmm.
and it was hysterically funny.
It was. It was exactly what the role needed.
Okay, but Chopped, I mean, Food Network show.
There's one of the judges I cannot stand.
Okay, me and Jeremy are totally in sync with this. I think we're talking
Well,
about the same.
I doubt it.
judge.
I don't know.
I think we're okay.
He's the Hispanic judge with like
Yes,
sleeve tattoos.
yes.
I want to say his name's
Aaron
Aaron.
Sanchez.
Yes, I can't stand that guy.
I do not like him because my number one pet peeve, and it's so funny. So if this was the Great British Bake Off versus A Good Place, Great British Bake Off, that is the best cooking series ever. I've watched every single season at least 10 times.
Is the Great British Bake Off on our list?
I don't think so.
Oh, we should just replace Chopped then with Great British Bake Off.
but anyway, I love that season so much. But I will sit there and I will watch it. And like the funny thing is the contestants know the judges from previous seasons, and they on purpose will put more alcohol in this because they know that the judges like alcohol. They'll do this or whatever. And they'll do it because they know that the judges like it. With Chop, they don't it's on TV. They know they're going to be on it. I think you should do your homework or whatever. And the judge, the Hispanic judge that drives me nuts is he automatically will hate something if you put something that he doesn't deem good in with his taste. Just because he doesn't like it, he's going to ding it.
Yep.
And so when I watch the Great British Bake Off, I'll be watching it and they'll put nuts in a cake batter or a brownie batter, and I'm like, they've already lost. And in my opinion, if I was this, I will constantly give my play by play. And I'm like, okay, well, if we're gonna do that rules, this guy's lost. It doesn't matter if it tastes good. They put nuts in brownies. That's a fireable offense. Oh, you put coconut on that. Okay, you've just lost. Sorry.
So you're becoming Aaron, huh?
Well, no,
Aaron.
but I'll watch it. But I'll watch it and I will jokingly give my commentary. And because I hate Aaron and that's what he does, I will watch the Great British Bake Off. I'm like, well, it was fun while it lasted, but you put coconut on there. So that's my biggest pet peeve about Chopped.
Yep. I like the host though.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of the creativity.
Ted?
Oh, Ted Danson?
No.
Oh.
I thought you meant the host on Chopped.
Oh, yeah, I do like is that his name, Ted?
Yeah.
I have no idea what his name is. I thought we were going back to the good place where he said Ted. I was like,
I like Ted Danson's character.
Yeah.
I think he's fun.
I think on this one, I'm going the good place.
I'm going to go with Chopped because there is something about rewatching a good cooking show. I'm not a chef or whatever, but I will watch it and listen, and I will apply what I've heard to things that I make. And so I can that's why I rewatch the Great British Bake Off is I just absorb it and just enjoy the competition. The one thing I don't like, and this is just a me thing, but the one thing I don't like about American, not only cooking challenges shows, but any game show type of a thing, like the Greatest Race, is they always remind you, remember, this is for $50,000. It's just Great British Bake Off. It's just there's a reward, but they don't bring it up every single time. The reward is you are deemed the best baker
Of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have sob stories in Great British Bake Off too?
Every so often, though, like when they do, I will tell you. One time, I wanted to create a parody of of like people's bio because, like, I don't know if I think I told you one time. I both like and hate American Ninja Warrior because they will give you this sob story, he was in Iraq and blah, blah, blah. And this happened and this happened. And, he was in the hospital in a coma for like 5 years and then blah, blah, blah. And he woke up and the first thing he saw was American Ninja Warrior. And he swore that he was going to do this. And, it's this like 11-minute bio of this person. And then you hear the go bell and then he slips and falls and he's out.
That's one thing I hate. I'm sorry, I hate when they give those sob stories,
Yes.
especially on like America's Got Talent.
Yep.
It's like, and then like, they'll do a decent performance, but then like, I feel like they lean too heavy into their backstory. And it's like, because you were in a car accident and you were able to perform this, we're going to push you through to the next round.
Yep.
Like that's, no. Let's focus on what the talent is. Is it good enough?
Yep, exactly. I agree. And I wish for American Ninja Warrior, because I don't like American Ninja Warrior. I've seen it. And because, if you were to reduce the time to how many, they're actually on the course, and it would probably be like a 10-minute show.
Yeah.
But what they could do, and how I love it, is if they did the whole like Wipeout kind of commentary. Oh, yeah. Bring in some Wipeout people.
Oh no! Like my favorite show is not Wipeout. Is that MXK whatever thing on Spike TV? Which I love the incorrectly dubbed English over whatever the Japanese people were saying.
Yeah, I do love that too. I also, one show that I was kind of surprised I liked was it's a putting show. I think it's on TBS. It's where it's like the miniature golf course.
Okay.
And they have this comedian, and I can't remember of a show that you would know him off the top of your head, but he's on a lot of like shows. And interesting enough, the show is like one of the producers is Steph Curry, but it's essentially, it's just supposed to be goofball. It is a lot like Wipeout. And, but yeah, I surprisingly enjoy that show. But Criddle, you're the last one to vote.
Yeah. The Good Place.
Place.
On the chopping block.
On the chopping block. So you've been chopped.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you just chopped The Good Place.
I like that.
You fooled me. All right. Next one is the Goldbergs versus Justice League Unlimited, I guess. I haven't seen it.
It is so good.
Okay, so the Goldbergs, I think, is a funny show, but like I feel like it's overstayed its welcome.
It absolutely has. I didn't know that there was this season going this year. I thought it was over.
I thought it was over 5 years ago, and I went to go, like, what was it? I went to go look up something, and I was just like, there's more, like, and I watched a show, I watched one of the series, or the more modern one. I'm like, they're like grasping at straws.
Yes,
like,
they are.
Like, it is sad.
Yeah. The first 2-3 seasons were really funny, and then it went.
Who you gonna telephone? The grandpa, I think, is great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's unfortunate when he passed away.
Yeah.
And then a spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen it. Like, obviously, if you know the story about like the guy who plays Maury, he obviously. I think he didn't get along with the cast or whatever, or he was done. He wanted to move on to better things. So they killed him off.
Oh, I did not know that.
So yeah. So last season he's dead.
Interesting. I have to go with Justice League Unlimited. I love that series. What was it? I first watched it on the DC Universe before they moved everything over to HBO Max. And I was devastated when they pulled it off because I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to get HBO Max. So I bought the DVD series of it and I've watched it. My favorite episode of Justice League Unlimited was when they do like a body switch between Lex Luthor and the Flash. And so the Flash is in Lex Luthor's body, and they're like trying to do certain things, and they're like, you're acting quite odd. He goes, what? No, me, Lex Luthor, am acting perfectly normal as Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor would really want to destroy the Justice League. Let us make plans to destroy the Justice League because I am Lex Luthor.
And Rosenbaum technically is Lex Luthor.
Yeah. And then the funny thing about it was, Lex Luthor was in the Flash's body the entire day and just kind of like causing problems or whatever because he had the ability of Flash. And then just seconds before they switch back bodies, he's like, you know what? Why have I not seen who I am? And so he goes to lift up the mask, and that's when they switch bodies back.
So is it comedic?
Oh, it was made for Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah. I might have to give that a watch then. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I'm going Justice League.
Based off of the, what I know of the Goldbergs and how the season started tanking, I'm probably going with Justice League as well.
Yeah. Currently, it's on both HBO Max and Netflix.
Ooh. So I imagine, Brett, you're going Justice League?
Yep.
Alrighty. All right. And then oh, wait a minute. Hold on just a second here. Just zooming out on their little chart, if it will let me. Just to see how many more we have. So it
Looks like we got 2 more.
Yep. 2 more. Psych versus The Mandalorian. That's a mean one. I will say that Psych was pretty funny. And when it was in its time, this was before, I think really binging was too like a real thing. And so when you watch each episode, they were, spread apart. But when you binge Psych, it is very repetitive, kind of like just, like the story. They're going to detect, they're going to find, there's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. To me, that just got old. And I did like all the characters. I did like, from Gus to Sean and what's
Henry, Maggie, and
Maggie, and who's the other cop? Maggie's partner,
Lassiter.
Lassiter, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I like them all.
I also like the guy in the morgue.
Oh yes, yes. He is like the weirdest of them all. But him and Sean are like on the same wavelength, I feel like.
Yeah.
But and I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but when I came across The Mandalorian, I was like, first episode, I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. And then the second episode, I'm like, all right, you're reeling me in. And then I was sold by like 3. I was like, yeah, I love this. So it's like, if I could choose my favorite Star Wars thing ever, it would be The Mandalorian by far.
Interesting.
I started watching Ahsoka like 2 days ago.
Oh yeah, how was it?
It's all right. We only watched episode 1.
Just out of curiosity, have you seen any of like the Clone Wars or the Star Wars Rebels cartoon or whatever? Because I've heard that, and the only reason why I ask is I've heard that some people have not really enjoyed Ahsoka because it's almost like prerequisite that you need to know stuff.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I definitely haven't seen it.
So you're going with
I'm going Mandalorian.
All right. So I've only seen the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. I started watching Boba Fett, and then I just, for some reason, stopped watching it. Not that I hated it, but I just stopped watching it. And I know I need to watch that before I watch The Mandalorian. I have watched and rewatched Psych probably about 7 times in total.
Oh, wow.
And it just, to me, it just gets better. It is growing up in the 80s and 90s. It is 80s and 90s references. I love 80s and 90s references. I love like all of the shout outs. I love the guest appearances. I love the mocking guest appearances where Gus will like find somebody. And yeah, I find Psych, and I have been Psych or whatever. I've watched the movies. The first movie is okay. The second movie is, I think, the best out of the 3. And the third movie is enjoyable. But I love Psych. I have to go 100% Psych.
All right, Criddle.
I love both of these shows, but I'm leaning towards Psych.
All right. So, fun fact. So, I was thinking of Mandalorian, thinking of the one episode where I think it's Timothy Olyphant's in it.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
So, just the other day, I was watching a TikTok, and I think it was, what was his name? James Dumal.
Mm-hmm.
James Dumal was in it, and he was telling this story. He's like, all his career, him and Timothy Olyphant have said like
Josh Duhamel.
Josh Duhamel. That's right. Sorry, they get confused one for another.
Yeah, I could see that.
And he's like, we've never met each other, and so we were at this party, and he's like, hey, somebody's like, hey, Timothy Olyphant's here. You should go talk to him. He's like, okay, yeah, I always wanted to talk to him. So we go talk to him. He's like, hey, so Josh is like, my family's here. Would you mind go taking a picture with them as me? And so they're like, yeah. He's like, yeah, this would be hilarious. So he goes and he takes some pictures with his family, and they have no idea that it is not their own kid.
Wow.
Yeah. And so like, and they put the picture on the wall at home and all that stuff. And he finally told him at one point, like, that's not me, by the way. That's Timothy Olyphant.
That's funny. What was I going to say? Have you seen, have you started watching the new series of Justified at all?
No, I haven't. It's on my list to watch though. All right. Last one.
This is mean.
For this episode is X-Men, the animated series versus Cobra Kai.
Oh.
I tried watching the X-Men series with my kids, and they're like, it's too scary. I'm like, oh, come on.
Come on.
I really like the Days of Future Past episodes. Those are fun.
I vaguely remember those because I haven't fully rewatched it as an adult.
Okay. I already know where I'm going.
Yeah, me too.
All right. In my opinion, and I'm very sorry for this, but Cobra Kai is not rewatchable. It's just not rewatchable. It's watchable once and then done, in my opinion. So I'm sorry if I'm yucking your yum.
Oh, that's weird.
Whoops.
You're voting for Cobra Kai.
Yep, wrong one. But so it's got to be
rewatchable. I'm voting for it. Whoa. Interesting strategy. Let's see how this plays out.
I don't know, Cotton. But X-Men, obviously, I loved it. I will always love it. I love my X-Men. I think that TV series is the reason why X-Men is my like favorite superhero group.
See, and here's my struggle with the X-Men animated series and the X-Men comics in general is I loved the X-Men animated series. Not as great as the Batman animated series, but I loved it. And I remember after watching the first couple of episodes, I went to 7-Eleven and our grocery store, because at the time that's where they also sold comics. And I remember picking up the X-Men comic. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get into this. And I looked at the cover, and all of the core members of X-Men from the series were not in X-Men.
Yeah.
Like there was 3 of them. And then I see this thing called X Factor, and I pick it up. And some of them are from the X-Men animated series. And then I see X-Force, and I see some of them. And I'm like, I went from watching a show that I loved, and I loved the characters, and I wanted to read a comic where they were all in it. And when I went to go read it, it wasn't there, which maybe was my first pull to the DC side, because at least, Batman is in the Batman comic.
Yep.
So
I actually had the exact same experience when we got that autograph and all that stuff. I was like, oh, this is my gateway. I'm going to get into reading comic books about X-Men. Wait a minute. I don't recognize any of these people.
Yeah. So for me, what makes this series rewatchable is Johnny Lawrence. I love Johnny Lawrence. I love that he makes me cringe with some of his inappropriate remarks. Cobra Kai is so rewatchable, and it's only because Johnny Lawrence is a horrible human being.
In your mind, does does what's his name? The Karate Kid.
LaRusso.
LaRusso does he add to the show in your opinion? Or
No,
does he take away?
He annoys me.
Yeah,
because it's one of those things where he is like, the thing is I'm waiting as a teacher and also as an adult, because I was once a kid who was bullied, and here's the thing. Like, I have moved on. I have no hard feelings towards any of my bullies or whatever. For some reason, LaRusso is constantly but he did this to me when I was 12 or when I was 15, and he won't let it go. Whereas Johnny Lawrence he's just trying to live his life, and who's oblivious to the 21st century also, which makes it twice as funny.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, I think Daniel just kind of, he takes away, but what he takes away is brought 100-fold by Johnny Lawrence.
Well,
funny.
I mean, they had 3 movies with from Daniel LaRusso's perspective as he's the hero.
Yeah.
Whereas Cobra Kai, it's Johnny Lawrence is the hero.
Yeah.
And it's his perspective, which is why I'm voting Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
So does that mean that Barney Stinson was right about who the hero was?
Possibly.
They're, 5-6 seasons now.
All right. Well, that wraps up this section of the bracket. Next week, it looks like we have some good ones too. That I'll give you a spoiler, I guess. I don't know. Which one do you guys see as the big spoiler?
Let's see. If I were to look at who,
I think this one's interesting that this randomly was selected. Drew Carey Show versus Whose Lines It Anyway?
that is interesting.
How I Met Your Mother.
Oh,
versus
How I Met Your Mother
Bang
versus
Theory.
Big Bang. Ooh,
That is a good one.
ouch. That's a mean one.
Do you know one thing that I was over at my parents' house and the Young Sheldon happened to be on?
Uh-huh.
I don't think I never gave that a shake at all. Not to say a fair shake. I didn't even give it the time of day. It happened to be on, and I just started turning and watching it, and it was so funny because Young Sheldon was doing his parents' taxes, and he decided that the IRS was wrong, and he filed them differently, and then he called, and so the IRS sent his parents a letter. And so he called the IRS, talked to the agent, and started berating the agent for not knowing how to do his job. And then the next day, his parents got a letter from the IRS saying that they were being audited. And I just thought that was so funny. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have not even given this show a time of day. Maybe I need to give it a chance.
It's not too bad. I do miss. It makes you miss Big Bang Theory though.
I do not care for how super goofy the parents are. Does that come across to you? Like the dad, especially, it seems like overly goofy. Like not a normal human being. I don't know if you know
Like
what I mean.
Hal from
No, I don't even think he's. No, Hal's not even goofy if I remember right, because I've only seen a couple episodes. It's like, do you remember the Irish show? It was a sitcom. It was an Irish family, and I'm trying to remember what the thing was. I know you watched it.
Oh, Moon Boy?
No.
Oh.
It was named after their last name because it was a family.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if they're just portraying the dad just total polar opposite of Sheldon. Just to kind of add to his, how could this come from here?
Exactly. Yeah, I get that. I was just like, I just wish the parents were a little bit more just be like the middle parents, if you've seen The Middle.
Yeah. Janitor.
I need to see that.
Yeah.
Janitor.
All right. Now it's time for our recommendations.
Okay. Recommendations. We just kind of brushed on it a little bit with what we're going to be experiencing next time. I've been rewatching Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Okay.
Over
The new seasons.
I started with from back in the 90s or whatever, and just started rewatching it throughout the whole seasons. I'm on season 8 right now. But it's a fun watch. I like I think my favorite is what's that guy's name? Ryan
Stiles.
Ryan Stiles.
Yeah.
I think he's so consistent and just
Yeah.
does a great job with everything. But it's just one of those leisure shows you can just sit back and watch and enjoy.
I do like it. I like that show a lot. I always have. I watch it now on TikTok when people, there's segments of it. And my gosh, the thing I used to love in the 90s about it is when they got a little bit raunchy and it was like, ooh, yeah, this is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Now I feel like it's always raunchy, or at least from the tidbits I see here and there. It's like, oh, or maybe that's just what gets, put on my algorithm with TikTok. It's like, he likes the raunchy ones.
Mm-hmm. You also see a bunch of like faces that I'm like, wow, you were on the show. Like Stephen Colbert was on there at one time, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, and I was like, what?
That's interesting.
I mean, some faces that just pop up on there are interesting.
One of the best episodes that I remember was the Robin Williams one.
Oh yeah,
when
that
he
was
on
good.
Now he totally stole the show.
Oh,
He like completely was like, I mean, that's Robin Williams.
He's the
He
king.
talks a lot. So
he's the king of improv. I mean,
yeah. But yeah. All right, my recommendation actually, it's just gonna be both the Enola Holmes first and second. I really enjoyed them. I really enjoy Millie Bobby Brown's performance. I like her. I kind of really appreciate her breaking the fourth wall as much as she does. She like talks to you like you're, like inside jokes with you, between you and her kind of thing. And it's like, I like that. And I really like number 2 where like Henry Cavill, he does a really good job. I mean, because he's still trying to be like the quirky Sherlock Holmes that Benedict Cumberbatch played, more or less, where he's not a fan of people. He's not, he's kind of just a weird. He's almost like a Sheldon in himself, and he pulls it off. He does really well. And he's a hermit, and then there's like the story of their upbringing too. Also, this sprinkled into especially the first one. The mom is played by, I can never remember her name, but she is like Tim Burton's bestie. Like,
what's her name? She plays Bellatrix.
yeah,
Lestrange.
Okay.
yep, that's her. And if she's like the most normal I've ever seen her before. But yeah, highly recommend it. It's a good show. Good family show.
All right. So this past week, I did what I thought was almost near impossible, especially with school starting. I got through in 7 seasons of The Venture Brothers because I'm getting ready to. I've already canceled my HBO Max because I weighed all the options or whatever. And I was looking at certain things. I'm like, well, because my biggest worry is what won't be there when I get back to it, because I think probably around like, The Last of Us Part 2, when that comes in, maybe I'll like jump in or something like that. But I'm like, I don't need this right now. And so I'm like, what do I need to get out of the way? And what will I be worried if it's gone? So The Venture Brothers is, if you've ever seen the old 1960s Johnny Quest, it is basically spoofing Johnny Quest. And at first, and I think last time I said that like there is no consistency among stuff. The further into the series, the more jokes they reference, the more weird stuff from previous episodes that they reference, and it actually does build upon each other. But if like you watched it or whatever, you wouldn't be necessarily lost. But if you like went from one season to another season, there's a couple of characters that do change. Like, one of the henchmen is hysterically funny. Like there's an episode where the main villain sends 3 henchmen into the main guy's, I think it's called Spider Skull Island, and to like plant a bomb. And so as they're breaking into it, the number 1 henchman, who's actually like this like real like buff guy, like, really into what he wants to do. And these other 2 henchmen, one of them sounds like Ray Romano, and the other one is just like this kind of like overweight doofus. And he's just like, let's go there. And he goes, and the other 2 are like, why? You want to die? And they're like, no. He's like, hey, we've been doing this for quite some time and we've come unscathed. And they're like, well, what are you going to do? He's like, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of like hide for a little while. And the number 1 henchman is like, no. Like, we'll just go there. And then he steps on like a pressure plate. He goes, well, and then the other 2 guys like, nice knowing ya. And they can't, like, he survives, but every single decision he makes causes a situation that is going to eventually lead to his demise, which it does. And the other two inept henchmen get out of it unscathed. They plant the bomb. The island blows up. And the criminal mastermind is just like, congratulations. Thank you for like planting that bomb and blowing up the island. And they're like, what? And it's like, oh, yes, that's what we did. We planted the bomb and we blew up the island. Yep, that's exactly what we did. So I enjoyed the Adventure Brothers. And I will say I'm going to give I am hopeful for this recommendation. It's a trailer that just really popped out. It is called Rebel Moon. It is basically, I think, Zack Snyder's take on if he did Star Wars.
It looked good.
And it looks really good.
And I didn't realize there'd be a part 1 and 2.
Yeah. So
I'm disappointed to say so far. I only watched the first episode. That show I mentioned last time, Planet Strange, the cartoon, I think it was made by Dan Harmon. Very, very underwhelming.
Oh,
I was very sad, especially because Danny Pudi's on it, who's Abed. Very underwhelming. So I'll give it maybe one more episode and see if they correct it after the first episode. But I don't recommend it.
oh, sadness.
All right. See ya.